It's new gravel bike day. In this vid we're going to be looking at Scott's brand new Addict Gravel that's completely overhauled for 2022. You get new geometry, more tyre clearance and super neat cable routing with a lightweight frame. Keep watching for all the details, and we've managed to get a sneaky ride of the new bike too, so stay tuned for our first ride impressions. Let us know what you think of the new Addict Gravel in the comments below and subscribe to see more from us. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past few years, you'll know that integration is one of the key themes in road bikes, with many brands opting for fully internal cable routing through the bars, the stem and the head tube. Bikes are increasingly using aero section tubes too, even if aerodynamics isn't the primary goal, and of course weight is still at the forefront of everyone's thinking. Scott has addressed all of these in the new Addict Gravel. Let's start with weight. Now, the road-going Scott Addict is known for its lightweight frame, and it's no different here. Scott claims to have created the strongest road carbon frame it's ever built, with special layering and reinforcement in specific zones of the frame. But even with all that, the resulting frame is still well below a kilo, with a claimed weight of 930 grams, and the fork adds another 395 grams. The frame is compatible with both 1 and 2x drivetrains. There's a blanking plate on the seat tube that keep things neat if you're running a 1x system. At the back, you can fit either a 160 or 180mm rotor, and the fork can take a 140 or 160. So if you're planning to go loaded or hit the technical stuff, you can give yourself a little bit more stopping power. Scott has opted for a D-section seat post and an integrated clamp on the frame, which certainly looks neat, but probably means you're out of luck if you want to run a dropper post. You can see from the pics that system integration is a big thing with the new bike. The Addict Gravel gets some well thought out cable routing for both mechanical and electronic shifting. The bike uses kit from Scott's in-house brand Synchros, and what you're seeing up front here is the new carbon Creston IC SLX cockpit, which Scott says combines ergonomics and compliance. The top of the bar has been recessed a bit, so you can use thicker bar tape without increasing the size of the bar. That means you get a bit more shock absorption. The cockpit system has a claimed weight of 335 grams. The move to this level of integration isn't just for looks though, it also improves airflow, and the frame is designed to be aerodynamic too. This bike uses Scott's patented airfoil design applied to the main tubes. Scott says that it's designed to optimise airflow and reduce drag without compromising comfort. The internal routing also means there aren't any cable and hose exits to fight with bag straps if you're running a frame bag or a bar bag. Aero gravel bikes, they're not a new thing, of course. Bikes like the 3T Exploro are designed from the ground up to be aerodynamic. From what Scott has said about the Addict Gravel at launch, I don't think you'd say aero was their primary concern, more part of the package that comes with the integration. But if you're aiming to ride fast off-road, aero might be a consideration for you, so it's a box ticked. Now, if you're loading up for a bit of an adventure, then the Addict Gravel is well equipped to join you. It's kitted out with mounts for a bolt-on top tube bag, along with a mount on the underside of the down tube, which is great for an extra bottle cage or for spares or a fuel bottle. You get the usual 2 mounts inside the front triangle for bottle cages, and there are hidden bosses for mudguards front and rear. The frame and fork are both designed to handle a 45mm tyre, but if you fit guards, that clearance drops to 40mm. The geometry of the bike has seen a bit of an overhaul. So with the new frame and fork, Scott says it's aimed to create a well-balanced geometry for as much control as possible, even down seriously tricky and narrow tracks. To achieve that, the reach has been increased, the fork rake has been lengthened, the bottom bracket has been lowered, and the bike is designed around a shorter stem. All of that is with the goal of making a more agile and stable bike off-road, while still offering an efficient pedaling position. So the bike in a large frame gets a 398mm reach, a 71° head tube angle and a 73° seat tube angle, which is the same on the extra large frame. Chainstays are 425mm. Extra small and small frame sizes get an even slacker 70° head angle, with seat tube angles increased slightly. There are 5 models of the Addict Gravel to choose from, including a Contessa model, which gets all of the same tech as the Scott version, but with women's specific contact points and a different colourway. There's also a tuned model, which comes with a Quark power meter. Sizing goes from extra small to extra large, and pricing runs from £2,400 at the bottom up to £7,700 for the top end build. I was lucky enough to spend a day with Scotty Laughland riding the gravel in the Scottish Highlands. Watch out for a video on that soon. Spoiler alert, it's completely brilliant up there. Anyway, Scotty and me are the same height, so I swapped out my Fairlight Farron 2 for his brand new Addict Gravel for a quick first ride. Now, Scotty's bike wasn't the stock build. He'd built it up with a GRX Di2 group set and a carbon wheel set from Canadian outfit We Are One, with 50mm Schwalbe G1 Ultrabike tyres. Now those are 5mm more than the recommended maximum, but you can probably see from the pics, they fitted just fine. The difference in bike weight between the all-carbon Addict and the all-steel Fairlight was immediately noticeable. It really is a very light bike, and that translates to a much more agile feel on the trails. The Fairlight and Scott are at opposite ends of the gravel spectrum really, with the Farron aimed at loaded touring and bike packing and the Addict Gravel firmly at the faster end. You can still fit a frame bag and seat back though, and with the other mounting points for a top tube bag and a third bottle under the down tube, if you do want to get a full bike packing setup, then that is still an option. The ride of the Addict Gravel is best described as purposeful. It's reasonably long, it's got a low position, and that long fork rake and reasonably relaxed head tube mean it feels very composed and planted on the climbs and the descents. So even on steep, scrabbly climbs, the bike goes where you point it, with the front wheel not wandering from line very much. It was noticeable that it was better in that regard than the Farron, where the head tube is steeper. You feel like you're over the front of the wheel a bit more. The Scott did have better tyres for the loose stuff too though, which also helped. The light weight of the bike is obviously an asset going uphill, and on the downs, it's really easy to flick from one line to another. I mean, certainly Scotty didn't have any trouble at all smoking me on both the climbs and the descents, although I'm guessing that's as much to do with the fact that he's a much better rider than me, as it is with the difference between the bikes. Comfort-wise, a rigid carbon bike isn't ever going to be the most comfortable way to go off-road, but the Addict coped well with mixed surfaces, from graded gravel to rockier, semi-technical stuff. I didn't have anywhere near enough time on the bike to get uncomfortable, sadly, or form anything other than a first impression. Scotty wanted it back, funnily enough. But if your ambitions for gravel are to go fast, and you're into that clean road bike aesthetic that the Addict Gravel is bringing to the table, and your budget is fairly big, then it's definitely going to be one for a closer look. So that's the new Scott Addict Gravel. What do you think? Is the whole system integration thing going to take off in gravel bikes like it has on the road? How aero do you need your gravel bike to be? Let us know in the comments below, and if you've enjoyed this vid, then pop a like on it and subscribe to see more. Cheers.
Hello, mate.